Mesdames, Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared to be amazed by my next guest. He's got a great presentation. His name is Steven Tiell from Accenture. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to start by talking about Amazon. A few decades ago, when I was an undergrad, I used Amazon to order textbooks. They had come out. It saved me a couple $100s a year over the bookstore, and they'd arrive in about a week. Fast forward a little bit, and they allowed Prime for free for college students. So of course I subscribed to that, and instead of the books taking a week, they took 2 days. Then they had Amazon Prime one-day delivery in certain markets. A few weeks ago, I was settling in to have a movie on a Friday night with my family, with popcorn in hand, and my wife turns to me and she says, "Did you get a gift for your niece's birthday tomorrow?" Of course I hadn't. And so I pulled up Amazon Prime Now on my phone. I ordered a couple things, and by the time the movie had ended, someone from Amazon had showed up to my door, handed me a bag of gifts for my niece's birthday. If there's anyone from Amazon in the room, please offer gift wrapping as well, because I still had to do that. But now Amazon wants to go a step further. They want to come into your home. Amazon Key service puts a hardware device, a camera with some edge intelligence on it, to be able to tell when someone enters your home that they've left a package, and hopefully they've left without grabbing anything else on the way out. For the first time, we have companies moving into our home at scale, physically entering through the threshold. This begs a lot of new questions to ask. Do we trust that company? How can they gain our trust? How can we maintain that? This year in the 2018 Technology Vision, we talk about redefining your company based on the company you keep. Why? Because it no longer matters as much how you treat your customer as much as it does how your ecosystem partners treat your customers. Because at the end of the day, if someone violates your customer's trust, they're going to leave your ecosystem. They're going to leave your brand, whether it's your fault or not. We know that partners need to share our values. Throughout this talk, I'll give results from our Technology Vision survey. You'll see information, what the global response is, what the Canadian response is, and what we have in 2 metro areas. Facebook. 2.2 billion monthly users globally. Facebook is embedded in their lives. In many parts of the world, Facebook is synonymous with internet. In fact, when people go on the internet, they don't say, "I'm going on the internet." They say, "I'm going on Facebook." Facebook has such precise targeting and information on individuals. We saw from the emotional contagion study a few years ago that they can actually enter your brain. They can understand your emotions. They can shift those emotions. That's a new level of responsibility. Earlier this year, we heard the story of Cambridge Analytica, that they were active in at least 3 elections globally. And then, a couple months later, by their own executives' admission, we learned that they were active in several hundred elections globally. Wow. Talk about a new responsibility to have. How do you enter your customers' brains? Do you want to? That's something you should really be thinking about. And if you do want to, how are you going to judge what's safe and what's harmful?
This
Citizen AI, raising AI to benefit business and society. As artificial intelligence grows in its capabilities and its impact on people's lives, businesses must move to raise their AIs to act as responsible, productive members of society.
We'll have these fun transitions throughout as well. So, AI is everywhere. It's all around us. It's in the lane-keeping assists that are almost standard equipment on cars these days. It's in Google Translate, which is used by 500 million people a month and growing. Spotify playlists even use AI, the music we listen to. AI is becoming embedded in our lives. And like my kids with sprinkles, they want it on everything. It's not just for ice cream anymore. You can put that on hot dogs, you can put that on mac and cheese. It's really amazing. I've learned a whole new culinary diet. But I see this a lot of times with executives as well. They want to sprinkle some AI on a problem because it might help. But not everyone is getting this right. And it's important to get it right because our survey results show that there's a strong belief that every human will be impacted by AI on a daily basis within the next few years. Who's getting this right? Ant Financial. This is the insurance arm of Alibaba. They process over 45 million claims a year. 60% of those are property damage. How do you scale that type of a problem? They looked at image recognition systems so that they could aid claim adjusters in the work that they're doing and get more standardized results with much less human intervention. So instead of a claims processor having to physically go to where the property damage occurred, they can merely grab images, crowdsourced from their own customers, feed those into their AI engine, and they get some actuarial model as a result that a human reviews and approves or adjusts. It's made claims processing faster and more efficient. They have a higher satisfaction among their customers. And it makes the assessment of external vehicle damage much more standardized and objective and less prone to individual bias. They're getting it right. They're working next to AI in their work. And by and large, we see this happening throughout the world, and again, our survey responses underscore that. I'd like to highlight, our own community here in Montreal to have a heightened awareness of this fact that humans will be working alongside machines. Data Robot, I actually saw them exhibiting out here. I was very pleased. There's a marketplace of over 15,000 members. They facilitate over $700 million a year in loans. And they do that because they trained models on over 300,000 loan applications to be able to tell who might default with better accuracy than what banks can do today. It's giving their clients a competitive advantage against established lenders. Harmony is a startup that says they couldn't do what they wanted to do unless they had the data from Data Robot. But it's not enough to use AI responsibly. Sometimes it has to be explainable as well. What NVIDIA has done is they started off with a black box system for autonomous car services. And they quickly realized that, we need to be able to explain this. We need to be able to understand it ourselves as engineers to improve our systems. What are we good at? Well, we're really good at visualizations. So let's switch and pivot to this visual explainable AI. So what we see here, let's draw boxes around objects. Let's color them based upon good or bad. We see boxes around these cars. Red boxes, bad. We highlight the lane markers. Let's stay within those. And then we map out the safe places for the vehicle to be. As long as we're in the safe zone, no harm should be done. We can see how pedestrians are carved out. There's a red line around them. They're going to have a bigger buffer area. And then when we put all of this together, it's easy to understand why the autonomous car made the decision that it did. We can see it. We can process it. Unfortunately, most agree that companies are not prepared for the societal implications of AI.
Extended reality, the end of distance. Virtual and augmented reality technologies are removing the distance to people, information, and experiences, transforming the ways people live and work.
I want you all to close your eyes just for a moment. Imagine it's the busiest shopping day of the year, and you're a Walmart store manager. You're walking up to those double doors to open them. Do you feel a little anxiety seeing that crowd outside clamoring to get in? Go ahead and open your eyes. Hopefully you felt your blood pressure rise a little bit. You maybe got a little sweat on your brow. You felt the anxiety. The number one issue Walmart store managers cite as wanting to leave their job is to have to deal with the crowds on Black Friday. It weighs heavy on them. They're responsible for the safety of those people trying to get a good deal for their families. It used to be the case that 50% of store managers had never experienced a Black Friday. That's how great the turnover is. So one of the first investments Walmart made into into virtual reality was give my store managers that experience through virtual reality that they can only have one day of the year. As a result, they were able to train their employees on crowd management, on how to handle those situations so that they go in ready, they go in experienced, and they go in able to protect the health and human safety of their customers. Airbus, assembling planes or seats on planes. They gave their workers augmented reality glasses so that would superimpose the places where those seats and the screws went. Because what would happen before is that they'd get to the back of the plane and they'd realize that, oof, I'm a centimeter or two off up on row 14. Redo the entire thing, screw all those seats back in again, and it would take a lot of time. As a result of augmented reality glasses, they increased productivity 5x. error weight went to 0. And there's less health risks from repetitive stress injuries. Today, if you're in the real estate market, there's a good chance you can find virtual tours of homes that you're interested in on Redfin. You can even have those homes virtually staged. See before you buy furniture shopping is available from Amazon, IKEA, Wayfair, Overstock, and others. You can see how that piece of furniture fits within your environment, both physically and aesthetically. We could never do those things before. Hana Bank in South Korea has a loan product that allows consumers, as they're shopping for homes, to hold their phone up to a property and get a real-time quote on a mortgage that they can then execute as they're sitting in front of that property, or at least lock in. Amazing. And companies are finding that it is important to be a leader in extended reality.
Data veracity, the importance of trust. By transforming themselves to run on data, businesses have created a new kind of vulnerability. Inaccurate, manipulated, and biased data that leads to corrupted business insights and skewed decisions with a major impact on society.
If you're an oil and gas company, and I wanted to disrupt your operations and do you harm, in the past, my method might be, let me take down an oil platform for a day or two, maybe even a week. It's going to cost that company tens of millions of dollars a day in lost productivity. The attack of today and tomorrow is no longer an attack of cybersecurity, it's an attack of data veracity. What my goal is today is to disrupt the way that you see the world, to influence that, to go to your GIS data and make you believe that there's oil someplace I know there is absolutely no oil. You're going to spend years and billions of dollars exploring that oil field, and I've succeeded in causing your business material damage. Those are the attacks that we need to be on the lookout for, and it's an attack on the veracity of data. What executives all over the world, particularly in Montreal, see is that automated systems create new risks. And not only that, but data integrity issues will grow exponentially as we build or as we live into this digital business world. A good example of how a company put this to use is United Airlines. They were trying to fill a $1 billion gap in revenue. They knew that they were pricing their seats wrong, but they couldn't figure out why. As it turns out, their seat prices, the model that was trained on that, had data that was 30 and 50 years old. Travel habits had changed over that time. People were traveling for leisure on weekends, and United wasn't properly capturing those shifts in habit because their model was using data that should have expired. As a result, they've nearly closed that entire $1 billion shortfall gap on seat pricing. But most have not made the necessary investments in data veracity that they themselves believe are necessary. Another thing that we need to be on the lookout for as we look at data veracity is who's going to game the autonomous system. In cities around the world, Uber drivers are using a third-party platform to augment their driving experience. What that third-party platform does is allow them to mass orchestrate sign-offs. If they do that, it triggers surge pricing. They've given themselves a raise. Who doesn't want a raise? In doing so, when they mass sign on, surge pricing goes up, and they're better off. They've gamed the system. Companies are not prepared for corrupted insights. How does Uber attack this? They don't have a way just yet. And who's doing this well? Amazon. They had a problem with verified reviews. They had a problem with reviews. They weren't verified. And so they started this verified review program. And so what that ended was the practice of vendors giving away product in exchange for positive review. So now, what gets reviews more weight? Did you buy the product? Is the merchant opted into their verified review program? And the review system was formalized in a way where if you want to give away free product, you opt into Amazon's program for that, and Amazon selects the recipients, not your company. It's brought the strategic advantage, or one major strategic advantage that Amazon has, which is the abundance of reviews on their products, and made that a strategic asset that they can move forward with because they had addressed the gaming that was happening on the platform.
Frictionless business, built to partner at scale. Businesses depend on technology-based partnerships for growth, but their own legacy systems aren't designed to support partnerships at scale. To fully power the increasingly embedded enterprise, companies must first re-architect themselves.
There's a new plane of competition in athletic shoes. It's about partnerships. Nike has partnered with Amazon to give them access to their millions of users, a new distributor for Nike. Adidas has partnered with Siemens in an autonomous factory so that their customers can custom design shoes and have them shipped out in mere days. Under Armour has partnered with IBM Watson to be the first company to really understand that quantified self movement and give active and proactive advice on when is a good time for you to go running, what is a good workout for you for that day to achieve your goals. And Canadian companies get that consumer relationships are becoming partner relationships. A great example of this is Walgreens. They started off with an API. They were the first drug company to have an API for their prescriptions. It turned out this helped their business build rapidly. Today, they have 275 partners across a range of services, everything from filling prescriptions to rewards programs and third-party apps. Microservices transformation was the next step in their evolution. This is breaking applications down into discrete pieces. What they were able to do for pharmacy with giving an API for prescription drugs, they've now opened up nearly every part of their business to collaboration. It's now ripe for partnerships and easy to access programmatically. They clearly communicate what they're able to do for others so that businesses can help build themselves while building Walgreens. And a number of food companies, Nestle, Unilever, Tyson, Kroger, Walmart, got together and said, you know, with all of these foodborne illnesses that we're seeing in produce, how do we figure out which farm it came from sooner? So they got together and they built a blockchain-based platform that allowed them to take mangoes that they pick up from the store shelf, which used to take them 6 days to figure out which farm that came from. They've brought that time down to 2.2 seconds. 6 days to 2.2 seconds using blockchain. Taking that a step further, blockchain will be used in smart contracts. Maersk and IBM just recently released a new venture, or started a new venture, to bring this to the shipping world. Because today, to file an insurance claim against a bill of lading can easily take a month and 20 to 40 hours of human time. Again, with blockchain and smart contracts, these insurance claims are able to fire autonomously, having no human intervention, and be adjudicated within mere seconds. Again, Canadian companies get it. Blockchain and smart contracts are mission critical in the next few years. On the flip side, Canadian companies aren't quite doing it just yet. But it's growing.
Internet of Thinking. Creating intelligent, distributed systems. Businesses are making big bets on intelligent environments via robotics, AI, and immersive experiences. But to bring these intelligent environments to life, they must extend their infrastructures into the dynamic, real-world environments they want to reach.
When I was in grade school, there was a girl, Samantha, and she one day started convulsing in her seat, and the teacher rushed over and caught her head as she was falling to the floor. What we didn't know then, but we learned later, is that Samantha suffered from seizures. We didn't know when they would come. We didn't know how severe they would be. But the good news is that today, there's a device called NeuroPace. It's implanted into a seizure sufferer's skull, and it measures brain activity in real time, and then triggers electronic pulses. Today, it's able to relieve symptoms about 40% of the cases. NeuroPace believes that over time and reinforcement learning, that this device can get up to about 70 to 80% effective in relieving symptoms from seizure sufferers. That's amazing, but that can never happen if it needs to send that information to the cloud to be processed. Edge processing is becoming profoundly important in industries far and wide. In agriculture, Land O'Lakes uses semi-autonomous tractors and to make variable planting decisions that has increased crop yields by 3 to 5x. Again, could not happen without edge-based immediate decisions from embedded devices on farm equipment. We have the likes of Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Baidu, NVIDIA. They're all building custom hardware to achieve computationally difficult tasks. You know, we used to talk a lot about CPUs being the core of these decisions that are being made and the core of processing. But that has moved on to GPUs, to FPGAs, graphics processing units, the video cards are GPUs. FPGAs are field programmable gate arrays. These are essentially programmable hardware This is what allowed Microsoft Office 365 to exist, because now they can individually encrypt every connection. And the only way they can have the computational power to do that is through field programmable gate arrays. And finally, ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits. Those of you into Bitcoin mining, you know all about these. But they're not just used for that. They're used in medical field, they're used in DNA analysis, and they're used in a variety and growing number of use cases regularly. Power is very low, and computational specialization is very high. And finally, we know that most executives know that hardware is important to their strategic futures. Again, here are our trends, a couple links if you'd like to learn more. Thank you for your time.